Today, I am kicking off a series where I build a themed house for every town NPC and pet in Terraria. Greetings friends, Khaios here. A couple of years ago, after I had completed my Boss Themed Houses series, I had started an NPC Themed House line of videos. But shortly after starting it, life issues started to heat up and I had to take a step back from the channel for a time. When I returned, it felt weird to continue the series, but also too soon to reboot it. Now, years later, and with a fresh new update adding a lot of building options for us to play with, I think it's the perfect time to redux and restart this series. And this time, I'm changing it up slightly as well. Every episode will showcase a single NPC, which will be selected via a random number generator. I'm building houses not just for permanent town NPCs and the pets, including slimes, but I will also be building houses for the traveling merchant, skeleton merchant, and old man. So let's see which NPC we're getting first. There are 38 NPCs in total, but I'm saving Santa for December, so it's 37 options. Let's see. And it looks like the bunny will be kicking this series off. And I already think I know exactly what I want to do for it. If you all have ever seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you may know exactly what I have in mind. I'm going to be making a house inspired by the killer bunny rabbit in the cave of Caer Banog, which I think is fitting since it's currently spooky season. So to start off with, I need to get the landscape going with a slight hill which is going to house the cave. And while I work on that, we have a short word from today's sponsor, me. Are you building happily in Terraria, but you have no one to stare judgingly while you do? Do you wish for a soft, cuddly companion to hold while you brave the depths of the underworld? Do you like dogs? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then today's product may be just what you're looking for. The jumbo-sized Khaios and Shino plushies are still available for pre-order for only 9 more days. In order to fund the campaign, we have to sell a total of 200 of them, and time is running short. A massive thank you to everyone who has already placed an order. Alright, so the cave layout is pretty much done. I've really tried to put some interesting shapes in this, not just make it one oval oblong shape, and I wanted to sort of make 2 sections. I think they'll actually be combined with the background walls. I'm not quite sure yet, but this thing needs a lot of work. So I'm thinking about detailing the topmost part of this with gray painted sandstone, which is my favorite block, as most of you probably know by now. But the reason I like using this at the tops of caves is because it gives a more realistic feeling cave shape. I can do things like that and have a decent looking stalactite. Stuff like that. But in addition to those, which will blend together with the stone using some gray painted sand in between, but I also want to have probably clay that's been brown painted on the outer edges over here, like this. It'll blend in with the dirt a fair bit, and we can use this to make like the area looks a little less foresty and a little bit more dead. And we could even have this go further into the ground like this and make it blend a little bit more naturally. I can't quite do that over here because the clay doesn't blend in with the stone, but I don't really need to. If I want to have pockets of dirt over here, that should be simple enough because the grass won't be able to spread all the way over here anyway. I'm not concerned about that, but this could be a good way to vary the stone texture in the cave just a wee bit. And I'm gonna do the same thing up here as well. I would like to maybe plant some grass just so it doesn't look like it's completely barren. I'm not sure. It doesn't need to look exactly like the version of the cave did in the movie or anything like that. I'm just drawing inspiration from it. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these textures far more varied, and then we'll talk about doing the background walls. As usual, I am using my go-to cave walls, which are worn, mottled, and craggy stone walls, all painted gray. I blend them in a completely random order, and I tried to use craggy stone walls at key points on the outer edges to get the most unique shape possible due to the very jagged shape of that wall. The secret to making a good looking natural cave wall, in my opinion, is to be completely random. This tip is pretty helpful when doing anything nature related, but avoid repeating patterns and mirrored segments as much as possible to make everything feel natural. Now that we have the cave walls looking nice and natural, it is time to actually set up the NPC house within the cave. Now obviously I want the entire cave to be considered the bunny's house. However, we need to have a valid house in here, which means we have to actually have doors and furniture and all that. But thankfully we have echo coding in this update, which is going to help immensely. Let's start off by putting on some Spectre goggles so we can see what we're doing here, and I'm going to be using some echo platforms to section off parts of this build. These are going to do two things. They are going to act as exterior walls to the house to make sure that it doesn't count as an open space, but they also fulfill the door requirement. So by having those in that section, this should now be considered a housing area, which it is. You can see down here the house is missing a light source, a table, and a chair. And now we could just hide furniture in various locations. I'm thinking actually about putting a little bit more platforms right there with a workbench on top, and then another platform right here with a chair on top, and then a torch right there, which we can then use wiring to turn off. Now that torch won't be seen, light won't be seen, and once we echo coat all of these, the furniture will not be seen either. Now this should be a perfectly suitable house, and we should be able to assign the bunny right to it. Now this cave is not done, not by a long shot. I have a lot of decorating that I want to do. I'm going to start off by decorating the upper edges out here, make things look nice and natural, and then we're going to be focusing on the interior. It's getting close, but it's not quite there, considering this guy is incredibly vicious. I feel like we need a lot more gore in this place. So I've got some flush block here with some red paint, and I think we're just gonna splash a little bit of it around here and there. Maybe have some of it dangling off of the edge there like this, and then we could even put a little dropper there which will turn into blood. All of these will look like blood by the time we're done with it, but I'd like to put a little bit of flesh under all of these segments, get everything re-blended up after I'm done as well. I do think it's gonna look pretty nice. Well, creepy, gory, but nice. I'm also thinking in sections like this where we have some moss, maybe we could paint some of that red as well and transfer some of that blood stain over into the moss. Like we have a body just resting there. Feels like we could do some of that and maybe get some of that over there as well. But let's see how much I could add to this place and make it look even creepier. Yep. This I like. I'm quite happy with how gory this has turned out. For the blood splatter, I wasn't sure what material to use at first. I've never really done anything like this before. but I really wanted it to be in here. I thought it'd be a perfect fit. So I was thinking of what materials could be semi-translucent so you could see the cave wall behind them. And yeah, thin ice. I came up with thin ice with deep red paint. They've been actuated so we can walk in front of it and you don't have to worry about breaking them, although you do have to worry about breaking cobwebs. I completely forgot that was there. But yeah, this cave is really come together. It is really only missing one thing. There we go. I have created a texture pack to make this guy, well, not only eat flesh like you saw there, I switched his carrot out for some flesh to make him the deadly rabbit that he is, but I also put the blood of the fallen all over him and make him spooky for Halloween because, well, it's fitting, I think. We've also added a graveyard mini biome to the area to add some fog, a little bit desaturation as well, and get this place looking mighty spooky for the spooky season. I think this was a pretty good first house for the series reboot. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I hope you all liked it. I sure had fun building it, and I look forward to the next one. Speaking of which, let's take a sneak peek at which NPC is coming next. With the bunny out of the way and Santa reserved for December, there are 36 options left. Let's see which one we get. Looks like we're going to be doing the mechanic next. If you all enjoyed this video, please consider helping us reach our new milestone of 400,000 subscribers by the end of the year by subscribing down below. And don't forget that we still have plushies available on pre-order for only a few more days. A huge thank you to my biggest supporters for the month: Matt Dragon, Nate Wiley, Hypic3, and Duke Samron. And be sure to check out my channel artist, MythicalWater, linked in the description below. Thank you all very much for watching. Be back soon with a new video. Until then, happy building.